The NFL Scouting Combine is wrapped up. Mose Knows mock draft V5 in 3, 2, 1.
I know that. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. Mose knows.
Beautiful people, Mose Knows fam, welcome back to the channel. Listen, the NFL Scouting Combine is wrapped up. All position groups have done their 40s, their on-field drills. Some players rose to the occasion. Some players didn't. Some players didn't even participate. And we're going to bring you a mock draft that shows how the first round is going to shake out based on the results of this past weekend. Let's jump right into it. Got our mock draft simulator here. Shout out to PFF. We want to select all 32 NFL teams. We won't edit the draft order. That's fine. Don't need to change any of these settings because we will be controlling it all. Let's enter the draft. Tennessee Titans are on the clock at number 1. They have everything available to them here at number 1. Could they go quarterback? Absolutely. Could they go best player available? Is that Travis Hunter? Is that Abdul Carter? Absolutely. But I think their phone rings. I think there's a team that wants to jump up to number 1. A lot of the chatter that we heard during this past weekend at the NFL Scouting Combine, that there's a New York team that wants to move up to number 1. And it's not the Giants. Hearing that the Jets are interested in moving up to number 1. So right off the bat, let's do 7. Let's do 1. Trade is lopsided. Okay. We'll give them 7. Let's give Tennessee a first round next year. And then we'll throw in 109 to move up to number 1. Let's get back a third rounder in 2026. So that's 2 picks, 3 picks. Jets move up from 7 to 1. They relinquish a first round in 2026. Give up 109. That might be somewhere in the 3rd, maybe 4th round. Let's go ahead and offer this trade. Let's get the Jets moved up to 7, from 7 to 1. So now the Jets are on the clock. They have a player in mind. They're going to go get that player, not waste any time. Cam Ward. Right now, Cam Ward seems to be the consensus number 1 pick at quarterback. Browns are on the clock at pick 2. Myles Garrett over the weekend said, no, thank you. The door is shut on any type of contract negotiations. I want out. I want to go to a contender. I want a chance to compete and win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to be able to do that here. I think they have to replace that production. Abdul Carter, likely the best defensive player on the board. Again, depending on where you put Travis Hunter, you see him as a wide receiver, as a corner. If you ask him, based on the conversations that he had with Stacey Dales at the Combine, he is both, and he wants to be viewed as both. But the Browns go Abdul Carter here at 2. Giants are on the clock at 3. I think they go get their guy. They make a trip to Colorado. They talk to Prime, and they bring in quarterback Shedeur Sanders at 3. Now we're moving. The Patriots are on the clock at 4. A lot of needs here. Again, I think Mike Vrabel wants to rebuild this defense in his image. And I think one of the best guys to be able to do that with is Jalen Walker of Georgia. They have him listed as linebacker. Other places have him listed as edge. He played both at Georgia. He played a lot outside on the edge. He played a lot inside at the mic. So he has some off-the-ball versatility. He can get to the pass rusher. I think this is a great player for Mike Vrabel to mold and pretty much have him all over the place. So that might be a shocker here early on. But I can see the Patriots going Jalen Walker at 4 to start to revamp that defense. Jaguars at 5. I think they waste no time. They run to the podium. They snag Travis Hunter at 5. Now that seems crazy. Travis Hunter slipping to 5. Could he go to the Patriots at 4? Absolutely. We just talked about Walker and his versatility. But his versatility is on the same side of the ball, not on offense and defense. And so I think while Mike Vrabel would love to have a talent like that, I think there's going to be some pushback, particularly maybe from Vrabel, about the wide receiver portion. I think Travis comes in and plays a majority corner and gets less snaps on the offensive side of the ball at receiver. But if the board falls this way, Jacksonville has no choice but to go get Travis Hunter. And now the Raiders are on the clock at pick 6. The quarterbacks are gone. Could they do something like take a Jackson Dart here at 6? They absolutely could. They could go running back. Could they go Ashton Genty at 6? That's also a possibility. Wide receiver, corner are options here. But I think one of the things that helped Pete Carroll when he was in Seattle and at the Legion of Boom was defense. And I think you can shore up that defensive interior with a beast like Mason Graham on that defensive line. Yes, I understand you have Christian Wilkins, but he's 29, getting a little bit older. But you pair Mason Graham with somebody like Christian Wilkins, and I think your defensive interior is set, especially if you figure out a way to keep Mason Crosby. You've got your edge rushers already. Let's be able to shore up that middle so that we can stop the run, force teams into passing situations to let those edge rushers loose. So I'm going to go Mason Graham here at 6. The Titans are now back on the clock at 7. So they have a lot of options here. They could also go quarterback. I like Jackson Dart. I think he's one of the risers based off of his workout at the combine. I don't think he's going to be in the top 10, but it's always a possibility. But I think a fast riser for me is edge rusher James Pierce at 6'5", running a 4.4, I believe. Absolutely insane. So I'm going to go James Pierce. Keep him in Tennessee, a place that he's familiar with. Doesn't have to travel far. At 8, the Panthers are on the clock. James Pierce is off the board. So I think they go back to that edge rusher well. And I think they go Mykel Williams here at number 8. Mykel, as well as most of the Georgia boys, I don't think Jalen Walker did either. Some other Georgia defenders didn't participate in much of the combine, if anything at all. But they'll show out at their pro day for sure. Saints on the clock at number 9. And I think they have a few options here. But I'm going to go give them one of the best offensive linemen in this class. There has been some talk about maybe moving him inside to guard because of his arm length. Will Campbell will tell you arm length is not a problem. Put on the tape. I think you draft Will Campbell and you take a look at what you are able to do from an offensive line standpoint. Can you kick him inside the guard? Sure. Do you draft Will Campbell as an eventual replacement for Ryan Ramczyk? That's also a possibility. Either way, your offensive line gets better. And again, he's in LSU, stays at Louisiana, a place that he's familiar with. So I'm going Will Campbell at 9 to the Saints. Bears on the clock at 10. This is going to be an offensive line pick. They have to protect Caleb Williams at all cost, and he should be pretty high on this list. I'm going to go Armand Mimbao, tackle from Missouri, here at 10 to the Bears. Again, no brainer. Have to protect Caleb Williams. My 49ers are on the clock at 11. Offensive line, defensive line are needs. We normally deal with the trenches. So, could this be an offensive lineman? Absolutely. Campbell and Mimbao are off the clock. Maybe this is a run at tackle, and you see Kelvin Banks from Texas here. Edge rushers still have Mike Green on the board here. Shamar Stewart still on the board here. D tackles, Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, all still on the board here. But y'all know what happened over the weekend. Deebo Samuel traded to the Washington Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's also some potential talk that Brandon Ayuk may also be on the trading block. Yes, we drafted a wide receiver in the 1st round last year. Yes, we have Jawan Jennings. Yes, we have George Kittle. But you can't lose 2 weapons like Deebo and potentially Brandon Ayuk and not replace those guys. And the best wide receiver is on the board. Again, he's getting Mike Evans comps. Some people are saying Calvin Johnson comps. He's 6'5". He did not run the 40 at the combine. He's going to do that at Arizona's Pro Day. But I anticipate it to be very fast. And he's a big target for our quarterback, Brock Purdy, who likes big targets. So I'm going Teteroa T-Mac McMillan at number 11 to my 49ers. Dallas Cowboys on the clock at 12. This is really going to be a flip of the coin. It's either going to be Ashton Genty or it's going to be offensive line. And I think the best offensive lineman, got him rated a little bit low here, best offensive lineman from an interior perspective who could go this high is Tyler Booker. And I'm going to give the Cowboys Tyler Booker here at 12, replacing Zach Martin, who recently retired. Dolphins on the clock. One of the absolute studs of the combine. Some people call it the Underwear Olympics. Lives in this safety class. They need a safety with the impending loss of Javon Holland to free agency. So I'm going to go Nick Emanwari from South Carolina. He absolutely blew the doors off the combine and would be a solid pick here at 13. His draft stock is skyrocketing right now, and I think he would be a great addition to that Dolphins defense. Colts on the clock at 14. This young man initially was disappointed with his 40 time. But once the official came in and that 4-4 turned to a 4-3, I think he was a little bit happier. They need a defensive back on this team, and I'm going to give them Jahdae Barron at 14. Had a great combine. I'm sure he's going to just add to that resume at the Texas Pro Day. So that's a solid pick for me there. Falcons on the clock at 15. They need an edge rusher. And while this young man did not run at the combine, he put up 28 reps at 225 on the bench. I think he did that purposely. He wanted to show that not only is he a polished pass rusher with speed, but he can convert speed to power, showing that he was able to put up 28 reps at 225. Give me Mike Green to the Atlanta Falcons at 15. We got the Cardinals on the clock here at 16. At this point, I think this would be a great pick. I talked about it in the pre-combine mock draft of it's a potential that they could go this way, particularly with the status of the running back room and the age of James Conner getting a little bit older. And I think you can have a 1-2 punch of James Conner and Ashton Jeanty, at least for his rookie year, and then allow Jeanty to take off from his sophomore season onward. I think they go Ashton Jeanty. And now the NFC West has 4 solid running backs when you think about Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Kyron Williams, and now Ashton Jeanty. Be some good football out in the West Coast. Bengals on the clock at 17. Another edge rusher who had a great combine and really improved his draft stock. I think he can go to this team, help them immediately on the defensive side of the ball, especially if they're able to bring back Trey Hendrickson. But even if they aren't, this is, the next iteration of what the pass rush looks like in that Bengals defense. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart at 17, Cincinnati. Seahawks on the clock. They could go offensive line as well. Edge and linebacker are also needs. I've given them linebacker before. I think in previous mocks it was Jalen Walker. I think his stock, again, is improving just because of the versatility of being an edge rusher, but also having that Mike experience, that off-the-ball experience, just his athleticism. And then once he goes to his pro day, I think it's a wrap. That's going to be locked in. But there's another linebacker who's really, really good. And I think he's going to be a great pro. I'm going Jahad Campbell at 18 to the Seahawks. And I'm going to be mad because I'm a big fan of Jahad Campbell. But as a Niners fan, I got to see this dude twice a year. Not going to be excited about that. Okay. Buccaneers on the clock at 19. I think they go edge as well. Big need here. I'm going Nick Scorton, edge out of Texas A&M. Broncos on the clock at 20. I think this guy is still here. I think they're excited that this guy is still here. Easy pick for me. Tyler Warren to the Broncos. Give them a tight end in that system. Help Bo Nix out in those intermediate routes. Being a security blanket. Solid pick at 20. Broncos don't have to move up or down. Tyler Warren falls right to them based on how some guys improve their stock at the combine. Steelers on the clock at 21. I think they're waiting to see what the Broncos do. The Broncos go Tyler Warren. Then they run to the podium and make sure that they grab their guy, Luther Burden III, wide receiver from Missouri, at 21. Whoever's going to be the quarterback, give him a trusted receiver. I heard over the weekend from someone that they think that Luther Burden III is a better version of Malik Neighbors. I don't know how I feel about that because I really like Malik Neighbors. I have watched Luther Burden tape. I know he's legit. But I think if that's the comp, it's a really good comp, especially what Malik Neighbors did in his rookie year. Granted, the Giants were losing. They were throwing the ball a lot. But 100-plus catches in your rookie season with the different quarterback situation that they had going on, that's nothing to sneeze at. So if Luther Burden can be that for the Steelers, I think this is a solid pick at 21. 22. Chargers of LA on the clock. Running back, wide receiver, tight end, and edge. I mean, you could go running back. Omarion Hampton had a great combine. Great combine. He could have pushed his name into the first round. Not a lot of teams after this. Packers don't need a running back. Texans don't. Rams don't. Ravens don't. Commanders don't. Bills don't. Chiefs don't. Eagles don't. It's not a lot of teams that need a running back. So unless somebody's trading into the first round, I think he goes top of the second round for sure. But that could be an option here. Omari and Hampton to the Chargers at 22. But I think they want to give Justin Herbert some additional pass catchers. You get him Lat McConkey. That was great. You have, what's the kid's name? Johnston, who's been a bust. Yes, he's big. Yes, he has speed, but he can't catch the football. And you need to be able to catch the football. So I think you give Justin Herbert a security blanket, and a security blanket that, again, is familiar with the head coach, Colston Loveland from Michigan. Some people are saying he might go before Tyler Warren just because of what his skill set is. But I think if he falls to 22, the Chargers snatch him up. Packers on the clock at 23. Center's in need here. And I'm going to go offensive line, but I'm not going to go center. I think one of the best tackles in the draft is here in Kelvin Banks Jr. And I think they can bring him into the fold and figure out where he fits. Maybe they throw him inside to guard early, but maybe they have an opportunity to leave him at tackle and then mix up what's going on the inside. So I'm going to go Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Packers. They have a really good team. You got to continue to open up holes for Josh Jacobs, and you got to keep Jordan Love upright. Vikings on the clock at 24. Oh, yeah. They could use a running back. I could deviate from what I have and go Omari on Hampton, but I'm not going to deviate from what I have. I think speed rules the NFL. Speed rules. And so with that and with the need, I think the Vikings draft Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. They have a need at corner. And you get a guy with 4.28 speed who also has great man coverage ability and great ball skills. I think Maxwell Hairston put his name in the conversation for the first round, and I think he lands in Minnesota. That's a great fit for him. Texans on the clock at 25. I think they stay with offensive line. Could they go tackle? Sure. I think they go interior. They have Donovan Jackson listed as a tackle. Again, as I mentioned last time, he did play a little bit of tackle when Josh Simmons went down with an injury. But he is more than likely going to be a guard. And guard is a really, really specific need for the Texans here. So I'm going to go Donovan Jackson here at 25. I think that's a great pick. Again, he gives you tackle versatility if you need it. But I think with the athleticism that he showed, he didn't do any of the measurables. I don't think he ran the 40 or did any of the short stuff. But he did some on-field drills. And his movement in the on-field drills was solid. Very good. Rams on the clock at 26. Tight end, tackle, linebacker, corner. I don't think they're going any of those positions. They could go Will Johnson. He fell to 26. I think he's dealing with a minor injury. He won't do anything until Pro Day. So they could go Will Johnson. If you look at the tight ends, Terrence Ferguson. Mason Taylor had a great day. Great day. Gunnar Helm twisted his ankle, showed pictures of the bruised, swollen ankle, but still finished the drills. He twisted his ankle running a 40 and still went through all the drills. I think that alone pushes him into late second, early third, because you don't find guys that are that tough. It means something to him. But I don't think they go tight end. Linebackers. Carson Schweschinger is a name that I'm watching out for. I don't think he sneaks into the first round, but I'm watching him. Demetrius Knight had a good combine, but I don't think he sneaks into the first round. And then, of course, the tackles are here. Could they go Josh Simmons? Yup. Could they go Gray Zabel? Yup. Could they go Josh Connerly? Yup. Could they go Ariante Erzuri? Yup. They could go all of these guys, right? But I'm going somewhere different. And again, the combine, the results of the combine are kind of dictating this particular version of the mock draft, right? So at 26, especially with the loss of Cooper Kupp, Matthew Golden, another 4.2 40, and you give Sean McVay that speed to take the top off while Puka Nacua handles everything else. That's going to be a problem. And again, I'm going to be pissed because my Niners got to deal with Matthew Golden twice a year. Ravens on the clock at 27. I think they go to the offensive line. They need help there. I think they go Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. He had a solid weekend at the combine. Lions on the clock at 28. Here's what I think happens. Again, there's no trades here, but I think a team picks up the phone. I think a team says, hey, we want to get back into the first round. So we'll give you 33. We want 28. We got a bunch of compensatory picks. We'll give you back 165 that you gave to us. And then throw in, we got back-to-back at 216, 217. I don't even think we need to do this, but we'll throw in 27. Matter of fact, no. We'll throw in 257 for good measure to get back into the first round. I'm just going to go ahead and force this because this is what I think could possibly happen. Detroit has needs, but they really don't have needs. I'm combing through. Could they get edge here? Sure. But is there a guy that they want at 28? I think they can move back to 33, get some additional picks, and still find a way to get the edge rusher that they need. I think Cleveland jumps back into the first round. And I think this is where they go get the quarterback of the future. I think they go get Jackson Dart at 28. And that's a solid first round for them. I think they're ready to move on from Deshaun Watson. Could they possibly bring in a veteran as a bridge? Absolutely. But I think they trade back into the first round and they solidify getting Jackson Dart, pairing him with Abdul Carter. And now we are moving forward with the future of the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a solid pick. Commanders on the clock at 29. Jonathan Allen is likely going to be traded. He was part of the talks with the 49ers for Debo. We ended up taking a 5th round pick. So if he's not traded, he will likely be released. And I think this defense did a really, really good job last year. Part of it's because of what Jonathan Allen offers from that interior defensive line, the ability to be able to stop the run, unless they're playing Saquon Barkley. And I think you're going to miss that, but you can replace that in this deep defensive line class. And I think they go Derek Harmon, who also had a solid combine weekend. And that is the future of the defensive tackle position in Washington. Bills on the clock here at 30. I think they run to the podium. I think he fell in this version of the mock draft because of what some of the other corners were able to do at the combine. This was likely going to change once he has his pro day. But if this happens this way and the Bills don't have to do anything and can get Will Johnson at 30, that's a no-brainer. No-brainer. Chiefs on the clock at 31. They could go tackle. I think they're going to go tackle. They could go defensive line. Walter Nolan is still here. That would be a great pick. But I think the mission is still the same. It's always been the same. Let's protect Patrick Mahomes and allow him to be Patrick Mahomes. And especially after they got bullied in the Super Bowl, I think we can find defensive tackles later in the draft. If we need to move up in the second round to get somebody that we like, absolutely. But I think we need to protect the best quarterback in the league. Josh Simmons wasn't able to participate. Again, he's injured. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, says he will be ready to go by the time the season starts. But based on the combine and who was able to perform, I think Ariante Erzuri put his name in that conversation. So I'm going to give the Chiefs Ariante Erzuri at 31. And then the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock with the 32nd pick. Wide receiver, guard, edge, and corner are needs. I don't know why corner is a need here. You drafted two. They're two studs. Yes, you moved on from Darius Slay, releasing him. So there's some good corners here. Azariah Thomas, Darian Porter, who had a solid day at the combine. I might deviate. I had them going edge here, but I might deviate. No. Yeah, I might deviate because this is post-combine, right? And we want guys who performed well at the scouting combine. Now, is Darian Porter going to put his name in the ring as a first-round pick? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. But, I mean, he's 6'3". He ran a 4.3. The Eagles like corners with speed. And, I mean, they have the luxury of doing whatever it is they want to do. And so now your outside corners are Quinyon Mitchell and Darian Porter, 6'2" and 6'3", both running 4.3. And then you have Coop and the nickel in the slot. You're not throwing on these boys. I did have them going edge. I'm gonna deviate because Darren Porter had an absolutely astonishing combine. And the edge that I did give the Eagles, because all of the other edge rushers were gone. The edge that I did give him didn't perform at the combine. And so if you don't perform at the combine, We know they love the Georgia boys, but they don't need a safety. They got Reed Blankenship. They got CJ. They don't need a safety. I mean, they could tap that Georgia well again and get Malachi Starks. But that's not necessarily a need. I mean, they could get big Kenneth Grant, but he doesn't fit what they want to do. They could go Walter Nolan. Wide receiver, I mean, unless they plan on moving on from A.J. Brown, wide receiver isn't a need, even though it's listed here. Maybe you can look for a slot guy. You can go Emeka Ibuka here. Darius Alexander had a really, really good combine and could put himself in the mix here. This is a tough one. I'm going to deviate and give him Darren Porter. Forget it. I'm going to just deviate. I'm going to give him Darren Porter. Again, this is a mock draft based on results from the combine, right? And if you look at what Darren Porter was able to do at the combine, 6'3", running 4'3". He's explosive. He's not stiff. He's a fluid mover. I think the Eagles took 2 last year. They take 3rd this year. And now they have that cornerback position locked up for the next 5 to 10 years. They don't have to draft or sign a corner for a long time because both their outside and their nickel corner are locked up. And now they can keep finding linebackers, keep finding edge rushers, keep finding defensive tackles, and allow that front 7 to go crazy because they know the back end is locked down. That's going to do it. We're going to take a look here real quick at just how this first round shook out. We got a trade from 7-1 for the Jets. They snagged Cam Ward. Tennessee stays in Tennessee. Moving to 7, they get James Pierce. Shedeur Sanders goes to the Giants. A little bit of run on tackles early. Will Campbell, Armand Mimbao go 9 and 10. Nick Eman-Wari, again, Combine Warrior at 13. Jahdae Barron with a 4-3. Goes to the Colts. Ashton Genty falling to 16 to the Cardinals. That's an eye catcher. We got Jahai Campbell to the Seahawks. Tyler Warren goes 20 to the Broncos. Maxwell Hairston puts his name in the first round. He goes 24 to the Vikings. Matthew Golden with another 4-2 goes 26 to the Rams. Browns trade back into the first round with the Detroit Lions, and they get their quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart. Will Johnson falls, but he falls to a really, really good team in the Buffalo Bills. And then the Eagles, they snag another corner in Darren Porter at 32. That is going to do it. That is going to wrap up version 5 post-combine first round mock draft. As always, thank you so much for your time and attention. Appreciate you stopping by Mose Knows, hanging out with me for a little bit. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this first round. Let me know your thoughts about where your team went with their selection. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What would you do differently, if anything? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Love and appreciate you guys. There are going to be a few more of these coming out as we get closer to the first round, as some of these guys who did not perform at the combine perform at their pro day. Does it change how this landscape looks? Yes, it absolutely is. And we'll see how those changes take effect. And then also be on the lookout. We're going to start our full 7-round individual team mock draft. So we're doing full 7-round mocks for all 32 teams, and they will be coming out as we get closer to the first round in between that time. So again, thank you so much for your time. Love and appreciate you. Catch you on the next video. Peace.